Namaste. Hello, everyone. Again, I am back. This is Vinayak. Today, we are going to discuss about the first chapter of our history, French Revolution. So, as all of you know, where is France located? It is located in the European continent. It is in the Europe, and we are going to discuss about the early stages of this country, how it had suffered, how the people of Europe suffered during the monarchy and despotic rule of the emperors, and then later how the revolution took place and which gave an enormous change in the entire world. What were the changes which occurred in the world after this? And I am going to share few of the slides by which we can learn. So we are going to learn about the French Revolution, how it started and what were its consequences, and how that brought changes in the entire world. Now, first we are going to know about the old regime in the, or we can even also call as ancient regime. In the old regime, socio-political system which existed in most of the Europe during the 18th century. Here, this old regime is, we are talking about not only about France, but we are talking about the entire Europe during the 18th century. Now, little I want to come out of this topic, that is, there came lot of changes in Europe only after the First and Second World Wars. Many countries, many kingdoms, they lost their kingdoms. Many empires were disintegrated, and many small countries emerged and they became independent countries in Europe after the First World War and the Second World War. So before those World War, we are talking about 18th century. Now this is called as the old regime. What was the system followed? What were the political systems were followed? What were the social systems followed, which existed in most of the Europe during the 18th century? Generally, there were big kingdoms. There were not many countries what we see now. That is, majorly England was there during the 18th century, and France was there. You never saw parts of Germany. We had Austrian Empire, and then Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was a very, very big empire which which existed till World War One. Then it got disintegrated after the World War One. So now, coming back here, countries were ruled by absolutism. The monarch had absolute control over the government. Completely, it was under the monarchy system, and absolute monarchy they followed. Absolute monarchy means all the powers were vested under the kings, under the emperors. So, what was the change which brought later, and how these absolute monarch, see, absolute monarchy which was followed, these kings were, whether they are capable of ruling their country or not, it did not matter. As they were the monarchs, they had to rule the country in whichever way. But people suffered during such monarchy. That's why, and because complete control was under the monarch. So whatever decision making they were taking up, whether it is good for the people or bad for the people, they never bothered. So they continued their way of ruling. Now, the third one is classes of people, privileged, unprivileged. There were two classes were existing during that time. Unprivileged people are, they paid taxes and they were treated very badly. They used to pay taxes to the king, to the government, but they were treated very badly. Privileged people, they never paid taxes. They did not pay taxes and they were treated well. So who are these privileged and unprivileged? We are going to know. Now in this slide, we see a French lady entering a sedan chair. Means they were given a lot of importance, and these ladies, they used to have a royal way of life. That is, I am not talking about all the ladies. We are talking about only the privileged ladies. So what is the sedan chair used by upper classes during the 17th and 18th centuries? Who were was carried by two chairmen, and it had side windows with hinged door at the front and a roof. It's somewhat like closed system where they used to use all these privileges. And see, Europe in the year 1789. Kingdom of, what you see in this map? Kingdom of France. Kingdom of Great Britain. I don't know whether you can see my cursor. Kingdom of Great Britain, Kingdom of France, Kingdom of Spain, Kingdom of Portugal, and here petty German states, smaller states. And you see Turkish Empire. This is Ottoman Turkey, all this gray color. And then Hungary, it was a very big country. Then Kingdom of Poland, and the largest kingdom, Russian Empire. It was a very big empire. Then here Kingdom of Sweden. Here Kingdom of Denmark and Norway. So these were the kingdoms which were existing. And here see Kingdom of Sicilies. There was no Italy at that time. Now next is society under the old regime. How was the society divided in the old regime? In France, people were divided into three estates. Estates means three parts, three estates. First estate, which consisted of high-ranking members of the church. High-ranking members of church, privileged class, they were consisting of two, that is high-ranking members of the church. High-ranking means all the officials of the church, that is religion was given the major first importance. Then comes the privileged class like noble class, relatives of the king, relatives of the emperor, family members of the emperor, they were considered as the noble people. And then second estate also consists of nobility, privileged class. Here all the noble people of the family. Family means of the emperor. relatives and the friends of the emperor. They come under nobility, noble class. They were also considered as privileged class. Third estate, everyone else, right from peasants in the rural side, countryside means rural side, to wealthy Borghese merchants in the cities. Wealthy, even the rich class traders and the merchants in the cities, and unprivileged class. As we already know, unprivileged class is only they were paying the taxes to the king. Now, how they were divided? These three estates, how were they were divided? See, first estate, high ranking clergy. Clergy means they belong to the church. Only they belong to the church. Religion. What were the privileges? They collected the tithe. Tithe is a name of a tax which all the unprivileged people have to pay the tax to the church. That is called as the tithes. Then censorship of the press. Censorship of the press means no press should sponsor or print, or they should not write anything against the church. So that's why that it was censored. Control of education was completely under the first estate. Kept records of births, deaths, marriages, etc. Because all this was taken care by the church. Catholic faith held honored. They followed only the Catholic system in Christianity. Position of being state religion practiced by monarch and nobility. Even the king has to follow this. They should follow the church, and all the nobility people, nobles also have to follow the Catholic faith, and they should follow the church. And the first estate owned almost 20% of the land of the country, of the kingdom. Exemptions. They paid no taxes. The first estate people never paid taxes, and they were subjected only to the church law rather than civil law. They never followed the law of the kingdom. They were subjected only to the church law. And burdens. Moral obligation rather than legal obligation. So only they have to follow the church. To assist the poor and needy. They have the moral obligation to assist the poor and needy. Support the monarchy and old regime. They only support to the monarchy. They believe only monarchy system and old regime. Now, the second estate, these are the population. Then who are the people there? Nobles. Collected taxes in the form of feudal dues. Now, this is another form of tax. The second estate people, they are the nobles, they are the landlords, they are the relatives of the emperor, and they collected all the taxes, that is land revenues. Feudal dues means these are nothing but the land revenues. Monopolized military and state appointments. They had the powers to appoint the military and the state officials, and they also owned the 20% of the land. And what were the exemptions? They did not pay any tax, and they also supported the monarchy and old regime. The third one, the population, it was having the highest population. Everyone else, artisans, bourgeois means small traders and merchants, city workers, merchants, peasants, etc., along with many parish priests. They were not Catholics but other priests. Lower grade priests, they come under the third estate, and they did not have any of the privileges what the first and the second estate people enjoyed. They did not have any exemptions. They have to pay all the taxes to the first and the second estates. Means the third estate people have to pay the taxes to the church as well as to the feudal lords, to the nobles, and again to the emperor. So they paid all taxes. Tithe, the church tax, octrot, tax on goods brought into cities, like what we have now, sales tax and the other type of taxes. And then corvée, forced road work. They made the people to do the works. Capitation, poll tax. And vintame, income tax. Gabale, salt tax. Taili, land tax. Feudal dues for use of local manures, wine press, oven, etc. So many things. But in your textbook, you have only few of the names of these taxes you don't have in your textbook. One is Tithe, you have the church tax, Taili, you have the land tax, and the feudal taxes what people have to pay, the third estate. What does this contemporary political cartoon say about these conditions in France? That is, everyone is under the first two estate people. That's why this is shared. Government under the old regime, the divine rights of kings, monarch ruled by divine rights. God put the world in motion. Only the monarch, only the rulers had the divine right. God put the world in motion. God put some people in positions of powers. Power is given by God. They believe that. No one can question the God. No one can question someone put in power by the God. So even the kings or the emperors or the monarchs, they were not to be questioned by the people. Questioning the monarch was blasphemy because it is meant like questioning the God. So no one had any right to question the monarch. What the king did? What were the powers of the king in this regime? Appointed the intendants, the petty tyrants who governed France, 30 districts. France had 30 districts during the regime. And who was the king? What we are discussing now. During the French Revolution time, the emperor was Louis the 16th. His name is Louis the 16th, and he married at the age of 20, very young age, and his wife was the Princess of Austria. Her name was Mary Antoinette. And when he became the emperor and when he married the Princess of Austria, Mary Antoinette, the treasure was empty. The treasure of the kingdom was empty. What was the reason? Because of continuous wars. And during that time, he had 30 districts, and he used to appoint the intendants to rule these districts who were petty tyrants, appointed the people who would collect his taxes and carry out his laws. He used to appoint the people who has to follow his laws and who had to collect the taxes and to give him. Controlled justice by appointing judges. He himself has to appoint the judges. Then control the military. He has to appoint. Could imprison anyone at any time for any reason. Blank warrants of arrest were called letters de cachet. Levied all taxes. He has the authority to levy all the taxes and decided how to spend money. Even the treasury of the kingdom, he has all the rights to take decision to spend the money also. He made all the laws, made decisions regarding war and peace. He can take the decisions regarding the war and peace. Economic conditions under old regime. What were the economic conditions? France's economy was based primarily on agriculture. They depended, all the economy was depending on the agriculture, mainly on agriculture. Peasants, farmers of France bore the burden of taxation. All the taxation, all the burdens of paying the tax was with the third estate people only. So the farmer has to bear all the burden of tax. He has to grow the crop, he has to grow the grains, and he has to give all his taxes in the all his income or his produce in the form of taxes. Poor harvest meant that peasants had trouble paying their regular taxes. If the harvest is poor, he is not able to pay. First, he has to see that he has to pay all the taxes first. Then only he can keep something for himself. Certainly, they could not afford to have their taxes raised. They cannot afford the tax. Even they cannot raise the taxes also. Bourgeois often managed to gather wealth, but were upset that they paid taxes while nobles did not. Bourgeois means again the merchants in the cities and towns. They often managed to gather by doing the business. They used to gather wealth, but they had to pay the taxes. Whereas they were upset that the nobles are not paying tax and they are working hard, earning money, but they had to pay the tax. France is bankrupt. Bankrupt here means the King Louis XVI lavished money on himself and residences like Versailles. The King Louis XVI lavished money on himself and residences like Versailles. He had a beautiful palace, the Palace of Versailles. We call it as Palace of Versailles, where all the people who are living nearby Versailles, they spend lot of money, all the nobles and his family members, and they lavished all the taxes what they collected from the poor people. And his wife, Queen Mary Antoinette, was seen as a wasteful spender. She spent lot of money from the treasury and she lived a very lavish life. Government found its fund depleted as a result of wars, and the remaining money was always spent for the wars, including the funding of American Revolution. Deficit spending, a government spending more money than it takes in from tax revenues, means whatever taxes were collected, whatever money which was collected in the form of taxes for the government, they spent more than that what they had. So always they were on the debts. Privileged classes would not submit to being taxed, because they never paid any tax and they would not submit to being taxed. And they even there also lot of corruption took place. Whatever they collected, the privilege, the nobles, they never paid all the taxes to the government. See the picture of Palace of Versailles as seen from the gardens. It was one of the beautiful palaces in the world. And even it was the place where after the World War I, a treaty was signed in the year 1919 with Germany when it lost the World War I. So we call it as Treaty of Versailles. This is a picture of Queen Mary Antoinette and her children. She considered her as frivolous and extravagant. She spent a lot of money. Now, philosophy of French Revolution, the Enlightenment age of reason. Scientists during the Renaissance. Renaissance is a period where a lot of changes came in Europe that came from the religious part, and many people stopped believing the church, and there was some other one more group formed, and that time some laws were discovered and changed. Intellectuals, philosophies began to ask if natural laws might also apply to human beings. There were a lot of discussions among the philosophers, intellectuals, educationists, and they started that all these laws, whether they apply to human beings or not, particularly to human institutions such as governments, philosophers, we call it as philosophers, were secular in thinking. They used reason and logic rather than faith, religion, and superstition to answer important question. All this when it came, when people saw people were used to that suffering, what they used to suffer, and then they got all these doubts, and they used reason and logic to determine how governments are formed. Tried to figure out what logical, rational principles work to tie people to their governments. All these thoughts came among the intellectuals and other educated people. Questioned the divine rights of king. They started questioning only why these rights were given to the king, whether really they are divine or not. So long and short term causes. What were the causes for the revolution? Long term causes, also known as underlying causes, causes which can stem back many years. Short term causes, also known as immediate causes. See, long term, what the suffering the people had suffered, and immediate causes. What were the short term causes which came? Immediate causes. Causes which happen close to the moment, the change or action which happened. So these are the examples about the causes, how it happened. So now we shall understand what happened exactly, the long-term causes of the French Revolution and the short-term causes of French Revolution. Everything previously discussed, we discussed already. What was it? Absolutism, that is completely the powers were with the emperor. Unjust, which were unjust, they never thought about the people. about the common people or the subjects of their country. Poor harvests which left peasants farmers with little money for taxes. Influence of enlightenment of philosophies here again. When they started bringing out all these things, and then the discussion started, this brought the influence among the people very slowly. Also, system of mercantilism which restricted trade. There were a lot of different ways of taxes, and trade restrictions were given because they had to pay heavy taxes. Influence of other successful revolution, like England's glorious revolution in the year 1688 and 1689. And one more is American Revolution, which took place during 1775 and 1783. This American Revolution took place, and then even they got the independence. America also was one of the colony of the British. England ruled for many years after America was discovered by Columbus. And then later on, American Revolution took place, and then America got independence in the year 1774. So even this was one of the reason that the French Revolution took place. Short-term causes of French Revolution. What was the causes? And you know, one more thing I would like to share with you. Education was very, very poor in France during this regime. People never knew how to read and write. In your textbook, first page only, you will see there are many symbols which were used. So there was no proper scripture for writing and reading. So they used to use the symbols for understanding or teaching or writing and reading. So during this regime, even during what they wanted to convey in the form of writing also, they used symbols because they never had any proper education or they never had any scripture. So now, short-term causes of revolution, French Revolution. Bankruptcy caused by deficit spending. They did not have money, but they spent more. Financial ministers, these are the names. Turgot, Necker, and Calonne. They proposed lot of changes, but these were rejected. Assembly of Notables voted down taxation for nobility in the year 1787. This brought bankruptcy, then great fear, worst famine in the memory. There was a very bad famine with no rains and other things. Hungary impoverished. Hungary is the neighboring kingdom. Sorry, not Hungary. We are talking about Hungary. Impoverished peasants feared that nobles at Estate General were seeking greater privilege. There was lot of hunger in the kingdom, and that impoverished peasants became more poor. They started becoming poorer and poorer, and they feared that nobles at Estate General were seeking greater privilege, and nobles were getting more privileges from the emperor. So with this all problems, there were lot of attacks on nobles occurred throughout the country in the year 1789, and this started from the people. More than 7,000 people, they gathered in uh, Paris, and then uh, they started revolting against the emperor. And then, because they did not have arms and ammunition, they started looting all the government establishments. And then, in this only, in the month of July 1789, what happened? They went and they stormed one fortress prison, which was called as, in the eastern part of Paris, it was called as Fortress of Bastille. So that was completely destroyed, and they demolished and killed the commanding officer of that prison. But inside the prison, there were only 7 prisoners. Only 7. 7 prisoners. But they freed those prisoners and completely they destroyed the prison. And later, when the revolution was completed, all these stones of this prison which were destroyed, they were sold in the market, and people kept it as a souvenir in their homes. So that was the beginning of the French Revolution. Louis the 16th had, who is Louis the 16th? He was the emperor, had no choice but to call for a meeting of the Estates General to find a solution to the bankruptcy problem. He called all his Estates General, means all his ministers and nobles, and then he had a meeting with them to find a solution for the bankruptcy problem. All 3 estate people he called had not met since the year 1614. That is more than 150 years, almost. More than 150 years, there was no meeting. But at this position, during the bankruptcy, all the problems, he had to meet these people. He had to meet, and he had to arrange a meeting and then set in motion of series of events which resulted in the abolition of the monarchy and a completely new socio-political system for France. After this meeting, the people understood, and then they set a motion of series of events took place. As I told, the first event was storming of the Fortress of Bastille prison, and then which resulted in abolition of the monarchy. They removed the monarchy, and finally they executed the emperor, that is Louis the 16th. They hanged him, and then a complete new socio-political system for France came. And now we shall continue in the next part, and I request all of you to read the textbook, go through the textbook and underline all the key points, and then prepare your notes and follow the chapter carefully. Thank you.